Good morning, friends. I am Dr. Shubhankar Mukherjee, taking the lecture of nursing students of High Tech Medical College, Rourkela. So today's topic is about the gas gangrene and the infection due to the non-sporing anaerobes. Already explained or discussed before that the bacteria may be two types. One is aerobes bacteria that require the oxygen for their multiplication or growth, and anaerobes bacteria. Anaerobes means they does not require any oxygen, rather than they only multiply or only grow in the absence of oxygen. So they are called the anaerobic bacteria. Now these anaerobes are responsible for different types of disease, and one important disease due to the anaerobes is gas gangrene. Okay, it is a very much important surgical condition that require immediate intervention. Okay, so starting with the learning objective, and this is the objective of this today's class, is that after the end of the session the student will be able to understand the clinical presentation, lab diagnosis and treatment of anaerobic infection and gas gangrene, and some of the virulence factor of the Clostridium perfringens, an example of non-sporing anaerobes and infection caused. Now, what is anaerobic bacteria? They do not have the cytochrome system for oxygen metabolism, and they are unable to neutralize toxic oxygen metabolites. Okay, oxygen is responsible for generation of different types of free radicals, superoxide free radicals that actually damage the cells. And aerobic bacteria, they have some mechanism or some enzyme that neutralize these free radicals. But anaerobic bacteria, as they do not have these free radical damaging systems, so they cannot tolerate the oxygen. Okay, and they either cannot grow in the presence of oxygen, so they are called the obligate anaerobes, or do not utilize oxygen but tolerates its presence. They are called the aerotolerant anaerobes. Aerotolerant anaerobes means they can tolerate oxygen but cannot utilize the oxygen for their growth. Okay, so they are basically anaerobes, but they can tolerate some amount of oxygen in the environment. Okay, next is the what is anaerobes need the special requirement to grow in the culture, such as anaerobic conditions. They can be achieved by various methods like the McIntosh-Feld's anaerobic jars, gas pack system, anoxomat, anaerobic glove box, workstation, or pre-reduced anaerobically sterilized media. At least you have to remember the first one, McIntosh-Feld's anaerobic jars and gas pack system. These are the most commonly used anaerobic culture system in day-to-day practice. Okay, and these the last three are the modern version of this anaerobic culture that are not usually available in most of the lab in India. So also we can use different types of medium or media that contain the low redox potential, but also that is not used in day-to-day practice in most of the hospitals. Now, what are the clinical presentations of anaerobic infection? Okay, usually infection adjacent to mucosal surface that bear anaerobic flora. And remember, the anaerobes are present in our gastrointestinal tract. Okay, and most of the infection that caused by anaerobic bacteria, the source of the bacteria is our own gastrointestinal tract. Suppose we are having some penetrating injury into the abdomen. Okay, penetrating injury to the abdomen that leads to the expulsion of the anaerobic bacteria from our gut, and they can produce infection in our peritoneum, causing the anaerobic peritonitis. Okay, so these are usually the source of the infection in anaerobic bacteria in our own gastrointestinal tract, or the source may be also the spore found in the environment. Okay, like in case of tetanus, obviously the tetanus spore, the source of the tetanus infection is the tetanus spore that is found in the environment, different soils, etc. But it is not our own human gastrointestinal tract. Okay, now what are the different predisposing factors that lead to more incidence of the anaerobic infection is the ischemia. What do you mean by the term ischemia? Ischemia is a term that actually denotes the lack of oxygen. Whenever our tissue get less amount of oxygen, the tissue undergo ischemia. Okay, so this is a ischemia. Why it is a predisposing factor? As there is less oxygen supply in a particular tissue, what happens? They actually favor the multiplication of anaerobic bacteria because there is no oxygen. Okay. Now, beside that, tumor penetrating trauma, already said if there any penetrating trauma in the abdomen, that actually leads to the expulsion or the expulsion of the anaerobic bacteria from our gastrointestinal tract, and that can produce the anaerobic infection in abdomen, like leading to the peritonitis. So foreign body, perforated viscous, etc., they are the predisposing factors. And spreading gangrene involving the skin, subcutaneous tissue, fascia and the muscle, and foul smelling putrid pus. So this is the clinical presentation. Okay, so they rapidly spread and involve the skin and subcutaneous tissue, and that also involve the fascia and the muscle, and if they invade the muscle, it leads to the myositis or gas gangrene. And the foul smelling putrid pus is a very much characteristics of the anaerobic infection because they produce the pus produced by the anaerobic bacteria is very much foul smelling. Okay, because they contain different types of gas like hydrogen sulfides, etc., sulfur dioxide, etc. Now, another clinical presentation of anaerobic infection is abscess formation. They lead to abscess. Septic thrombophlebitis. Septic thrombophlebitis means the infection of the vein. Okay, phlebitis is the thrombophlebitis, means that the inflammation of the vein. Toxemia and fever not marked. Toxemia, fever is usually the indicator of any infection in our body, but remember, in case of anaerobic infection, there is less marked fever. Failure to respond to antibiotics that do not have significant anaerobic activity. Remember, most of the antibiotic what we use in day-to-day practice, that actually not effective against the anaerobic bacteria. They are mostly effective against the aerobic bacteria. So if we suspect any anaerobic infection, we have to give some special antibiotic that is effective against anaerobes. Okay, like the metronidazole. Metronidazole, you have heard that metronidazole we usually use in case of any infection that is caused by protozoa like amoeba. But also remember this on metronidazole or mebendazole, this type of azole group of drugs that also have some anaerobic activity. Okay. So organisms are seen under the gram stain but fail to grow in routine aerobic cultures. Most of the media what we use in our laboratory usually help to grow the aerobic bacteria, not the anaerobic bacteria. To grow the anaerobic bacteria, we usually use special type of media. The name of the one of such media is Robertson cooked meat media. Now, clinical another features, like in case of gas gangrene, you will get the gas in the specimen under the muscles. Black pigment that fluorides, like if the infection is caused by Prevotella or actinomyces infection, we will get the sulfur granules. Okay. So, laboratory diagnosis of anaerobic infection, what are the expected specimen? Tissue bite, necrotic material, aspirated body fluids or pus in the syringe. Unacceptable specimen, all swabs, sputum and voided urines are unaccepted, and immediately the specimen put into the Robertson cooked meat media broth or other anaerobic transport media and brought to the laboratory as soon as possible. So Robertson cooked media, see, this is a picture of the Robertson cooked media broth. It is a liquid media and it is the most commonly used anaerobic media. It contains chopped meat particle, beef fat, and it provides the glutathione and unsaturated fatty acid that take up the oxygen and create lower redox potential, and thereby it permits the growth of obligate anaerobes. So very important, at least you for nursing student, you have to remember what is the name of the media, Robertson cooked meat media, and it is a liquid media that contains some cooked meat particles that is that actually reduce the oxygen in the environment, and also it produces a low redox potential that is the helpful for multiplication of anaerobic bacteria. And obviously, as per the routine flow of the microbiology lab, first you have to perform a microscopy, you have to perform a gram stain, and then after that you have to observe what are the shape and size and what is the spore of the anaerobic bacteria under the gram stain. Now these are the different medias for the anaerobic infection. In your nursing student, you should not, there is no need of remembering all the things, just you remember that Robertson Cook media is the media used for the anaerobic anaerobic cultures. And obviously the aerobic bacteria, after the culturing we use some biochemical test to identify which bacteria it is. Also there is a antibiotic dish available to identify the antibiotics, to determine the antibiotic sensitivity against the anaerobes also, and the different multi-top liquid chromatography. These are the recent advance in diagnosis of anaerobic infection. Now treatment of anaerobic infection, already said the metronidazole plus penicillin. Metronidazole is a drug that is effective against the anaerobic bacteria. Carbapenem, beta-lactam is inhibitor, and clindamycin also have some anaerobic activities. Now Clostridial infection. See, Clostridia is a gram-positive bacilli with bulging spore. Remember the Clostridium means bulging. Clostridia come from the word cluster. Cluster means spindle. Okay, so the spore usually bulge from the body of the bacteria, and they are usually found, see, also in the intestine of vertebrates or invertebrates, including the human beings. So the gastrointestinal tract is the source of most of the anaerobic bacteria, but the spore form is also found in the soil, fresh water, marine water, decaying vegetation, animal matter and sewage, and they play a major role in recycling of the organic matters. Okay. Now what are the different species of Clostridia? Clostridium perfringens. Okay, previously it was called the Clostridium welchii, and this Clostridium perfringens or welchii is responsible for gas gangrene and edematous myonecrosis like condition. Okay, so it produces necrosis, means damage of the muscles, and so this is called the myonecrosis. Okay, and it also produces gas, and this gas can be felt under the muscles. They can be palpated. So the name of the disease is gas gangrene. Clostridium tetani causes tetanus. Clostridium botulinum produce a powerful neurotoxin called botulinum toxin that causes botulinum, and Clostridium difficile cause the pseudomembranous colitis in the hospitalized patient, and the last one leads to the antibiotic associated diarrhea. So all the four bacteria you have to remember at least the name of the bacteria and the disease they produce. Clostridium perfringens produce gas gangrene, Clostridium tetani produce tetanus, Clostridium botulinum produce botulinum, and the Clostridium difficile produce pseudomembranous colitis or antibiotic associated diarrhea. So see, this is the type of spores of various Clostridia species. What is spore? Already said in the sporulation chapter, in the spore discussion, the spore is the most resistant dormant form of the bacteria. The bacteria may exist in two forms. One is the vegetative form, that is the responsible for pathogenesis inside our body. Another one is the spore form. When the environment is unfavorable for bacterial growth, the vegetative form transfer from vegetative form to the spore form, and this spore form can exist in the environment also, and they are found in the soil, and they may be a source of different disease like gas gangrene or tetanus. Now types of spore of various Clostridium species. See, this is the oval or central spores. The spore is present in the center of the body, and it is bulging, and its shape is oval. Subterminal spores found in Clostridium perfringens, means it is near the end of the bacteria, and it is also bulging, and it is also oval shape. Spherical and terminal spores. See, Clostridium tetani, third one. It is found in the end of the body, and it is round in shape, and it looks like the drumstick. Like so, the appearance of this Clostridium tetani spore is a drumstick appearance. And oval and terminal spore, see, this is the at the end of the body and also the fourth one, but the shape of the spore is oval. So it looks like a tennis racket. The last one is the tennis racket shaped appearance and it is found in Clostridium tertium. So Clostridium tetani is a drumstick appearance and Clostridium tertium has some tennis racket appearance. Robertson Cook meat media, see pink and turbid. After the growth of the anaerobic bacteria, the media becomes pink and turbid in case of Clostridium perfringens, and it is usually the pink and turbid it is found in case of saccharolytic anaerobes, and black, if it is transformed to the black and turbid, it is usually the indicator of proteolytic bacteria like Clostridium tetani. Clostridium perfringens infection, already said, it is a responsible organism for gas gangrene, and see they are capsulated bacteria, non-motile, gram-positive bacilli, bear subterminal bulging spore, does not produce spore in tissue or in the culture media, especially the gas gangrene strains, and it is invasive as well as toxigenic. And they produce four types of toxin and major toxin, 4 types of major toxin and 8 minor toxin. But most important, remember the first one, alpha toxin. Alpha toxin is also called the lecithinase, and this is the responsible for the pathogenesis of gas gangrene. Okay, lecithinase, what does it mean? Lecithin is the fatty acid found in the cell membrane. Okay, and the enzyme which break down this lecithinase is called the lecithinase. Okay, so it produce damage of the cell membrane and produce myonecrosis. And it also produce heat labile enterotoxin, soluble substance are produced like different enzymes. This is not required for you. Just remember the alpha toxin or lecithinase is important virulence factor of Clostridium perfringens. Manifestation, it can produce wound infection, it can produce gastrointestinal tract infection, that is called enteric infection, or also it can produce gas gangrene. Wound infection, what is difference between wound infection and gas gangrene? Gas gangrene always means that involvement of the muscle or myonecrosis. But if it involves only up to the superficial fossa or the soft tissue, it is called the wound infection or superficial wound infection. Now this is not required for you. Clostridium enteric infection, it may also produce food poisoning or enterotitis necroticans, necrotizing enterocolitis, gangrenous appendicitis. So remember, it can produce wound infection. Enteric infection means gastrointestinal food poisoning, and it can involve the muscle. When it involves the muscle, it is called myonecrosis, and that produce gas gangrene. Now coming to gas gangrene, it is the today's topic of discussion. And what is gas gangrene? It is defined as a rapidly spreading edematous myonecrosis occurring in association with severely crushed wound contaminated with pathogenic Clostridium perfringens. Previously, the disease was called the malignant edema or Clostridial myonecrosis. So it is a rapidly spreading disease. Edematous myonecrosis means it involves the muscle, and it occurs associated with severely crushed wound that occur usually after any road traffic accident. Okay, road traffic accident that involve or that crush the muscle, that usually leads to this gas gangrene, and only when it is contaminated with the spore of the Clostridium perfringens. Most of the responsible bacteria is Clostridium perfringens. Another anaerobic bacteria can also be involved. An example is Clostridium novae and septicum, but remember Clostridium perfringens is the most important bacteria. So development of gas gangrene required this anaerobic environment. Whenever there is crush injury of the muscle that leads after the road traffic accident or open fracture of long bones, that usually lead to interruption of the blood supply and tissue ischemia. Whenever there is interruption of blood supply, that area suffer from anoxia. Anoxia means lack of oxygen, and this anoxia leads to anaerobic environment, and the spore of the Clostridium perfringens, what they do in favorable condition, anaerobic environment is a favorable condition for the anaerobic bacteria. So due to the lack of oxygen, the spore of the Clostridium perfringens transform into the vegetative form, and this vegetative form of the Clostridium perfringens produce lecithinase or alpha toxin that leads to pathogenesis of this gas gangrene. Okay, and obviously the contamination of wind with the Clostridium spore, this is the spore that is found in the soil, and it usually, this spore actually penetrate during the road traffic accident into the muscle, and in the anaerobic environment they transform, the spore form transform into the vegetative forms. Why they transform into the vegetative forms? Because they get the favorable environment. Remember, the environment, the favorable environment for aerobic bacteria is a aerobic environment, but Clostridia is an anaerobic bacteria. The favorable condition for growth of anaerobic, any anaerobic bacteria is a anaerobic environment that lack oxygen. And due to this road traffic accident, as there is a interruption of the blood supply, the local tissue get necrosed, local tissue get ischemia, local tissue get lack of oxygen. So it becomes, this area becomes favorable environment for anaerobic bacteria like Clostridia. So the Clostridia can produce disease in this condition only. And toxin, obviously, I already said the alpha toxin, it is the most important virulence factor, lecithinase. It is responsible for gas gangrene. Okay. What is the clinical features? See, this is a typical picture of a gas gangrene patient. The rapidly spreading myonecrosis, and as there is necrosis, there is blackening, and this bulla is formed due to the production of gas. And rapid development of foul-smelling thin serosanguinous discharge and gas bubbles, crepitus, can be felt in the muscle plane. And it is a sudden onset of excruciating pain at the affected site. So symptom is pain, and the sign is the foul-smelling thin serosanguinous discharge with gas bubbles. And briny edema and the induration, such gangrenous tissue later may become liquefied and sloughed off, and it may lead to the shock. Okay, hypovolemic shock and organ failure can develop, and it is associated with higher mortality rate, very high mortality rate, if the surgical intervention not taken as soon as possible. Now, what is the laboratory diagnosis? What we require for diagnosis of gas gangrene? We require the necrotic tissue. Necrotic tissue, muscle fragments are exuded from the deeper parts of the wound. Then we perform a gram stain from the tissue, and the gram stain reveal the thick, stubby, boxcar shaped gram-positive bacilli without spore. This is suggestive of Clostridium perfringens. And then we inoculate into the media for the culturing. And what media it is used, already said, the media used for anaerobic bacteria culture is Robertson cooked meat media. Beside that, we can also use the egg yolk agar, etc. And we have to incubate in the gas pack or anoximate media, anoximate system anaerobically for at least 48 hours. Now, how we diagnose? Again, we similar to the aerobic bacteria, we use some biochemical test or special method to identify which anaerobic bacteria it is. In case of Clostridium perfringens, remember we use the Nagler reaction. Nagler reaction, just remember the name, and opalescence surrounding the streak line on yolk agar is indicative of Clostridium perfringens. Besides that, we can also use the reverse CAM test, heat tolerant test, or litmus milk test. At least you have to remember that Nagler reaction is used for diagnosis of Clostridium perfringens infection. And this is the picture of a gram stain smear. That see, this is the boxcar shaped stout bacteria. That is, color of the bacteria is violet color. Means it is a gram positive bacteria without any spore. Spore is not usually found in the pathogenic tissue. It is found only in the environment. Okay, the Clostridium perfringens produce spore, but it is not found in the pathogenic tissue or inside the human body. It is found only in the environment or soil. That acts as a source. Okay, and it may be gram variable. And see, this is the target hemolysis, zone of complete hemolysis. The second one is the picture of a Nagler reaction. No need of details explanation of this Nagler reaction. Just remember the Nagler reaction used for identification of Clostridium perfringens. And treatment: early surgical debridement, most crucial step in the management of gas gangrene, require the surgery. Remember, the surgery is the most important treatment for gas gangrene. Okay, no need of details explanation in this. And antibiotic, hyperbaric oxygen can be given, passive immunization can be given, and the antibiotic which is useful against these gas gangrene bacteria is penicillin and clindamycin. Okay. Now, beside this non-sporing Clostridium perfringens, there is some anaerobic bacteria that does not produce spore. Okay. And what are the example of this? See, this is the gram-positive Peptostreptococci, Bifidobacterium, Eubacterium, Propionibacterium, and gram-negative. They may be gram-negative also, means they are non-sporing and gram-negative, but they are anaerobic bacteria. Example is bacteroids, Prevotella, Porphyromonas, Fusobacterium, etc. So at least you remember the second column. See the bacteroids. Bacteroids and Eubacterium or Propionibacterium, Lactobacillus. Remember these four names for these non-sporing anaerobes. There may be a viva question, tell some non-sporing anaerobes, then you have to tell 3 to 4 names. Most important one is the bacteroids, Propionibacterium, Lactobacillus, Eubacterium. Okay, that is enough for you. And anaerobes has normal flora. See, not only the gastrointestinal tract, our oral cavity also contains some anaerobic bacteria like Actinomyces, Fusobacterium, Bifidobacterium, Prevotella, Spirochetes. The stomach contains Lactobacillus, intestine contains lots of anaerobic bacteria like bacteroids, Fragilis, Fusobacterium, Bifidobacterium, Prevotella. Vagina contains the Lactobacillus, Prevotella and Bifidobacterium, and skin contain Propionibacterium. They have some beneficial role as they act as a normal flora. What they do, they compete with the pathogenic bacteria through depletion of nutrients and production of enzyme and toxic metabolites, modulates host intestinal innate immune response, and bacteria ferment carbohydrate and produce volatile fatty acid that are used by the host as an energy source. So remember, as all normal flora bacteria has some beneficial role, and as different anaerobic bacteria of our gastrointestinal tract are the normal flora of our GI tract, they have also some beneficial role for our human body. Okay. So this is the different anaerobic cocci, anaerobic bacteria, non-sporing anaerobic bacteria. They produce different types of disease. See, one of the important manifestation it produce is the Propionibacteria species. They are the skin commensals, and sometimes they produce the folliculitis. Okay, Propionibacterium, remember, produce folliculitis. Okay. And Lactobacillus acts as a probiotic. Lactobacillus, they are non-motile gram-positive bacilli, frequently show bipolar or Barth staining. These are the part of the normal flora of the mouth, gut and vagina. It is often used as a part of the probiotics. These are not important for you. Just remember the name of the non-sporing anaerobic bacteria. That is enough for you. And most of them, they are the normal flora, like Lactobacillus is a normal flora. And remember name of the 4 anaerobic bacteria that produce disease. One is Fusobacterium, okay, and bacteroids, Bacteria fragilis, sometimes produce disease inside our body. So this is a small review for your nursing class, okay, nursing students. This is all about the anaerobic infection of our human body. Okay, the most important question is, what is the name of the anaerobic bacteria? Okay, spore forming anaerobic bacteria, name of the non-sporing anaerobic bacteria, what are the causative organism for gas gangrene, what is gas gangrene, what is the main enzyme responsible for gas gangrene, that is lecithinase, how it is diagnosed, what is the sample of choice, what is the gram staining features of these Clostridium perfringens, and what media is used for anaerobic culture, that is the Robertson cooked meat media. So this is the important for you. So again, good afternoon, and if there is any doubt, you can ask in the WhatsApp group. Okay, we are always available. So if there is any problem, you can ask in WhatsApp group and we'll answer as soon as possible. Okay, so thank you.